In so many ways, we've reached the point where enough feels like enough. Many of us will have hit our tolerance point for certain experiences, for certain emotions, for certain ways of living, for certain things that we're doing. And this isn't born from a feeling of wanting to do nothing. It's not born from resentment, even necessarily. It's born from a place of realizing that there is so much more that we can offer. There is so much more that we can do. And that actually every single step upon our healing journey so far, all the growth that we've been doing, all the self-discovery that we have been through, and all of those difficult lessons have brought us to a place now where we're realizing our own potential. And in that moment, we realize that we can't carry everything with us. We're at a threshold, ready to step through a doorway, a portal, whatever you want to call it, whatever visualization works for you. But on the other side of it, we can't take everything with us. All of those limitations, everything that we've been holding on to, our baggage, things that have been weighing us down. It's time to let them go. It's time to let them go because enough is enough. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome. I am Anna, Alchemist of the Arts, and this is my channel. I'm going to be talking today about the current collective energies, things we might be feeling, experiencing on our own personal growth journeys, and offer some insights and guidance onto how we can traverse these energies, as well as drawing some runes to assist with this process. So at the time I'm filming this, we are just about to have the full moon in Sagittarius, which is happening tomorrow on Thursday, the 23rd of May. Now, this really feels like a culmination point, and there is a sequence. I say this in all of my readings now. These energies have been building our awareness, our growth. It is a journey for a reason. It is non-linear. We have been going around the houses and individually, all in our own different directions, dealing with our stuff, having our own personal realizations. And the most important part is that this awareness is yours personally. It comes to you at your level for you to understand, for you to interpret what it means to you. And then you, in your sovereignty, in your power, in your strength, get to use that awareness and decide what you are going to do with it. Our responsibility is with us. And when we reach that point of feeling very misaligned with people, places, situations, and output that we have been creating for ourselves, that we have been engaging in, that's the point at which we have to change. And sometimes it takes many cycles of these experiences, of these frustrations, to really get to the point of going, oh, okay, yeah, I'm really done with this now. But oftentimes we have to hit a point of feeling so done, so over it, so frustrated. That's the point where you really do make the change. And I think a repeating theme I see with so many energy sensitive people, something that I've experienced myself, is that when you have a great degree of compassion, of empathy, when you are aware of other people's emotional processes, we can presume, we can think that we know. And what we can feel, it might well be what somebody else is feeling. But also, the interpretation of those feelings are very subjective. It's not for us to change somebody else. And I know this I've gone on a bit of a tangent. This is a bit difficult, but we have to be aware of our place, of what we're doing, of where we need to change. We don't always know what is best for other people. And we don't always know the best way to get them to their next step. We can offer insight, support, and guidance. And we can walk alongside people. I think it's Ram Dass. It's just like we're all just walking each other home. But you physically cannot carry somebody. And you physically cannot push somebody on their journey to get where you think they need to be. And this is where we have to be very compassionately honest. It's a sense of candor to be able to say, okay, I can see that this person is in the middle of their process and I'm in the middle of my process, and maybe those processes are completely different and they need to be figured out separately. It's not for us to figure out everybody else's stuff. And actually, that is a wonderful, sometimes codependent way of us trying to help other people, but actually distract from ourselves and our own work. So as we might be feeling estranged from certain people in our lives, feeling that sense of misalignment, feeling like things have perhaps served their purpose, or just that we've been trying to force things to work when the universe just keeps reflecting back to us that actually perhaps this isn't the path, or this isn't the way, or maybe when we're really, really honest with ourselves, it isn't actually what we want anymore. There is so much truth that comes to light that we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to show ourselves the same level of candor and compassion through that candor. And I personally, I think there is a divine timing for all things. I personally believe that certain events are orchestrated. Through our struggles, we become the person that we are destined to be. But also I know where I have personally fallen into those tiny pitfalls that have kept me in patterns, that have kept me stuck, that have kept me perpetuating situations, and where I could have stepped away, where I could have put in a boundary. This has been a big lesson for me, where I could have said no. I've continued to say yes. And actually, after a time, you get to the point where that no longer works, because it becomes that kindness, that well-intended compassion, or whatever motivational reason it is for continuing to do something, even though it doesn't align with us anymore, or doesn't feel like it's our purpose. There is no drive, there's no energy behind it. Continuing to do that for all of the reasons that we could do can become a draining, almost destructive force in our life. And this is where the candor comes in. We are honest with ourselves. And at this point in our time, in our collective history and our collective experience, with all of the information that we are seeing, with the rapid developments in the wider world, with the atrocities and things that we are witnessing, we all get that sense of it's time to make some changes. And those changes for us will be different. On every single individual level, they will be different. What they're asking us to do is to really connect with ourselves. Connect with ourselves, our truest sense of self, beyond everything else. Beyond all the distractions. Beyond all of those different identities that we believe we were supposed to have been or could have been. All of the things that people expect from us based upon who we were 10, 15, even 20 years ago. Everything changes, and that can be really, really difficult. But what doesn't change is the purity of your personal energy. There is something in there that is timeless and eternal. And within that, that is the guide, that is the guiding light. Where is that calling you? What changes is that energy asking you to make? So perhaps we need to be really honest with ourselves right now, where some of our well-meaning distractions have been taking the focus off of ourselves. It's not to say that we need to be self-obsessed, but there is a very succinct way that we will avoid doing some of our difficult work, or just scratch the surface of it, because we become distracted by external forces. And actually, sometimes when we realize the enormity of our personal power and we can start to advocate for ourselves, it feels really scary. And there is a process between having awareness and being able to fully embody that as this developed version of ourselves. And there can be like this oscillation between having had the realization, learned the lesson, and actually being able to apply that to a specific new or repeating situation in our lives. That's a real test. It's not that we're being tested. It's a test from ourselves. Nobody else is testing us and grading us. It's a process where we will just keep being tested ourselves until we get to that point of being able to make those decisions quickly and going, actually, I see what I'm doing here. I see the way I'm behaving. I see the habit that I've fallen into. I know this isn't the best thing for me. I know I could make a better choice. And that's tough love. That's really tough love to give to ourselves. And it's not in the pursuit of perfection. I need to say this again. But what it is a standing up for ourselves. It's those situations now that might be coming up are perhaps asking us to embody more of those realizations and more of the growth. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to do everything perfectly, but we are being given opportunities right now to put some of these experiences and all of this growth and learning into practice. So, with that in mind, where is it that we've been avoiding making some of these decisions? And they could be really empowering decisions. These could be really happy decisions. They don't have to be difficult things, saying no, stopping doing certain things. It can be the things that we really want. It can be the things that lift us up. It can be the things that we want to go out and achieve and to do. But for some reason, we've told ourselves that we can't, that it isn't possible. And this journey is all about us redefining those limitations and going, okay, do you know what? Maybe I can. And through that realization, we come to the embodiment of starting to do those things, starting to believe that actually they are possible. And piece by piece, we move in that direction and things start happening. And again, it can be kind of scary when these positive things start happening. Actually, so many of us are primed for expecting the worst, that when that happens, it's so familiar, we just accept it. And then we like to validate ourselves in our acceptance of those difficult things because it was exactly what we're expecting. And actually, sometimes we have to be really, really tough in our excitement and belief that a new life is possible. Or this thing, this dream, this goal, this hope, this ambition, this vision, whatever it is, that feeling that you have inside of you that's calling you to do something differently. That thing, the exciting thing, the positive thing, that's calling you. We have to believe in that as well. And we have to begin to prime ourselves that these things are possible. And then we prove ourselves right with that. And again, it's a journey. Not everything goes right all the time. But it doesn't mean one thing going wrong doesn't mean it's not meant to be. And when I said that we were stepping through a threshold where enough is enough with this full moon, and whatever time that you're finding this reading, it's because you are embodying more of your own personal wisdom, your own hard-earned and hard-learned lessons. You are embodying that wisdom so that you can step into the life that you want. And this is for all of us. This is for each of us. It's not a self-serving thing. For so many of us, we're guided to do these particular types of work in the hopes of sharing our beauty, our light, our inspiration, our art with the world, our healing, our growth, inspiring others to do the same, bringing more of that collective acceptance and love and creativity back as a creative force onto the earth as our lived experience, and breaking free from some of these matrices that have held us in place. This is a really beautiful time, and this full moon could be triggering some of those moments of where we say, okay, Okay, I'm done with that because I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes to that, or I'm going to take the positive first step and I'm going to go and do that. And seeing that shift, seeing the magic happen. This is where we have to come back to that purity of self and that sense of self that tells us, okay, this is the direction. This is the focus. That's the real you. Do you remember this? This is the thing that you used to love. That was the dream that you used to have. This is the passion that made you start this in the first place. Go back to your roots, go back to your initial motivation, go back to your dreams, go back to the things that used to inspire you, that used to make you laugh and light up at the thought of it being possible. Because there is magic within that. There is a personal magic within that. And I don't believe that these things were set to make us feel bad. Quite the opposite. I think a lot of this personal journey and healing work is deconstructing all of the false narratives about what we've been told is possible, about who we've been told we can be, about the things that we can achieve, and this hierarchy structure that we've all been stuck within, all set against each other, feeling like there is no real community, looking over our shoulders and wondering, no, which side am I on? When actually there are upper echelons that thrive on that. And the worst thing for them would be this collective coming together. So I'll leave that there. I'm going to do a couple of runes for you. I'm using a different rune set today. It's not nearly as loud. We've got two, they're going to come out together. We have got Sorilo and Raido. Absolutely that. The inspiration, the catalyst to move on, to move forwards. In that place, in that energy of enough being enough. Some things just literally won't cross that threshold with us. Some things will not come over that doorway. Some things have served their purpose. They've done their time. We might have just run out of steam. Or it's the realization of how much energy is just being invested in certain places that is done. Your growth comes from recognizing the catalyst, recognizing where in life you are being shown specific inspiration. Where are you having those realizations? What part of your life are you thinking, wow, my life would be so much better or easier if I did things this way? Or what if I tried it this way? Maybe I want to go and study that, or all of these different things. Your personal realization is going to lead to forwards movement. It's recognizing that. It is bringing forth the light of the sun, reawakening us, bringing light into the fray, and realizing that that brings with it the energy to move forwards, to have continuous, steady forward movement. This is progress. It's inspiration that brings progress. And sometimes inspiration comes as a catalyst of discomfort, of realization, of change. But that is vital nonetheless. Let's get another one. Ooh, we have Canaz. This to me really speaks of, especially in this position, this is the way I read them. Canaz pointing downwards like that. There are definitely struggles and frustration that you are going to have illuminated. Your struggles and your frustrations in life are going to help you find your way out. You will find your way through to the next phase of life. You will find the solutions from bearing witness and being honest about the problems. But in order to overcome them, we have to shift and do things differently. This almost feels like it would have been perfect to come out before the first two runes, because to me, Kana can speak of, if you look at the rune poems, it can speak of a boil. And this to me is always that sense of discomfort, something very uncomfortable that needs to come to the surface. And this is going to come through a process of self-illumination, of self-realization. That discomfort is going to show you what needs to change. But in order to do that, there will come an inspiration. We don't solve a problem being stuck in the problem. We be aware of the problem, of the discomfort, but then we find a way to shift our energy. There is new inspiration that comes in. We have to consciously shift our energy to find alternative ideas and solutions. And I know I make that sound easy. Some examples of this would be to go through some type of personal ritual, maybe a cleansing process, maybe setting some time aside to do a meditation, some intention work. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe you prefer to meditate through a practical process, something like painting, me, for example, or the physical creation of something that can be very, very meditative. Cleaning can be very, very meditative when it's done and you allow yourself and you realize that you were going through thought processes. In that space, you find different answers because you have shifted your energy. So if you perhaps spend all of your time, a majority of your time in a particular environment, you can trigger an energy shift by going into a completely different environment and make that a priority. Don't make it a priority to find the answer. Make it a priority to take yourself out of the situation that has created the problem or that you connect to the problem and take yourself somewhere else. Physically augment the shift of your energy or a process that would do that. Anything that is going to break a pattern, the day-to-day, the routine that we get stuck in. Take yourself into a different space, a different environment, into different energy, meditation, journaling, a long walk in the woods, whatever it is for you. Maybe it's a swim in open water safely, if that is your thing. Maybe it's going to the gym, whatever it is for you. Go and do that thing, because there is going to be a huge healing process connected to that. Get one more. Okay, we have answers in the reverse. Now, this is saying to me that there could have been, maybe you've been receiving guidance that you literally haven't wanted to take. Maybe you felt like you've been cut off. Maybe you felt a sense of disconnection from your own spiritual or personal practices. And I really feel this is, again, a sense of perhaps being stuck in a particular energy, in a particular environment, in that day-to-day, in the repetition, and especially when those things don't feel comfortable. And this ties in very nicely to the previous message of going out and shifting your energy. You go back, have some kind of personal practice, a personal ritual. That could be a spiritual bath in the space of your own home. These things don't have to be grandiose. They don't have to be pilgrimages to the other side of the planet. There is so much that we can do in the comfort of our own home, but also it's recognizing the source of our discomfort. And sometimes that is within our home. And I'm really feeling for some this sense of clearing space and clearing the energy around you, clearing away the distractions so that you can really tune in to yourself, to your intuitive beings that are trying to communicate with you, whether that's your gods, guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, whoever that is for you. tuning into them so that you can reconnect. That sense of connection doesn't go. It doesn't, you don't sever your connection, but it feels like we lose it. And sometimes that's because of the distractions in our outer world. But it's more than possible, quite easily, to reconnect and to reestablish that feeling, that sense of oh, also it's that spiritual ecstasy that's so amplified by this room, and represented by this room. It's that wisdom of Odin. It's connecting to that higher source and connecting to that well from which all things flow. The only way I can describe it. It's the way things pour into us. So I'm going to leave this here for you. I hope this reading brought something to you that could be valuable. If it did, then feel free to like, share, subscribe. I have new artwork completed, and I have got so many more things underway at the moment. So watch this space. I'm sending you all my love, and I will speak to you really, really soon.